to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and I have just gotten home from work and relaxed for a little while. So, I am going to begin recording. Now, whenever we last left off, Deku and everyone has just gone up against a Tyranid. And it was actually a specialized Tyranid. Now, the Space Marines, they would have taken the Tyranid back to the city, along with Deku and everyone else actually somewhat being told they're heading back to Japan, since they do have their final exams, well, in the morning. Now, with that out of the way, All Might, he knows a secret too, so he would be taken back to Japan along with, well, our 9 Space Marines, or, well, candidates. I'm not really sure what to call them or consider them. If I say Space Marines, then someone might say that the females aren't Space Marines. And if I just say all their names at once, it's going to be too long. So I'm just going to call them the candidates. Anyways. Now, them and All Might would all be heading back to Japan, as they do split ways. All Might is still curious about that creature he saw. He knows from the way the Space Marine was acting that it was clearly not from Earth. So, that is, well, a bit of a shift on his worldview. He thought All For One was his biggest worry, and that being the symbol of peace on Earth was his biggest priority. But clearly he must try and stretch that. So, he will do what he can with One For All to help the Space Marines, and try and beat All For One soon. So, after the final exams, he will talk to, well, the priest. Get things sorted out for his surgery. Now, with that being said, they would all get back to the church and actually sleep. All of them, going to sleep and waking up tomorrow, heading to UA. As they are told that for their final exams, they are not going to be going, well, doing a standardized written test. In fact, they will be doing a heroes versus teachers, confusing quite a lot of people. Half of Class 1A is shocked, while the other half somewhat expected something like this. People wondering why they're not freaking out, along with Todoroki. He's still concerned and confused, but he'll try and get answers today. He knows he will. Along with that, he does understand that All Might had a bit of a, well, spy. But for some reason, earlier this morning he somewhat found All Might talking with that girl. The, well, support girl, as he calls her, with a Zoom quirk. He was telling her that she needs to, well, stop spying, or at least stop looking into Class 1A. She was a bit confused until All Might would have told her that he got his explanation, and he knows their whole story. So, she will need to stop. Now, with that being said, everyone is getting ready. Deku and everyone is putting on their armor and hero clothing, as we'll have the heroes versus villains go this way. You have... Now, you have the teams. Izuku, Midoriya, and Kirishima versus All Might. Everyone a bit interested to see this battle. Kirishima is a relatively strong girl, and in fact, she won the sports festival, along with Midoriya. The fact that he's able to stay on par with her is insane. Not just that, anytime they think that guy has a physical limit, he seems to be a bit stronger than they think. During the USJ, he manifested, and I put that in quotes, manifested 2 quirks, along with the fact that showing off a bit more of his battle style. Fight until your knuckles bleed and keep fighting, even whenever you think you're going to drop. Now, with that being said, everyone is at least focused and not really saying a word. Momo and everyone actually keeping things, well, a bit silent in the room. Jiro actually asking Momo a question, which she's a bit curious about. They live at a church, right? So who trains them? To which she would just say that the sisters at the church train them, along with the priest. Sometimes they would go back and forth between home and here. They actually did have to go back home during, or well before, the sports festival. The medicine we have in our town is, well, very good compared to what you guys have here. And we also do at least try to keep things civilized there. Jiro just asking more and more questions. She's really interested in what kind of music they would have up there, since they're basically isolated from the world. So, she's trying to get answers out of that. Along with that, you have 2 people cheering Deku and, well, Kirishima on. Ibara and Bakugo. These 2 are both cheering on their own rivals. So, this will be very interesting. Now, these 2 would walk into battle and be ready. As Deku and her start talking, they are trying to think about a way to beat All Might. The Nomu was made to beat All Might. The only way they were able to take that thing down was whenever those, well, other Space Marines killed the Nomu by shooting it in its head. And they can't kill All Might. Now, while these 2 are somewhat discussing a method to take him down, All Might would have sent a loud, well, a 70% smash in their direction. To which Deku would have turned and go to throw a sonic wave. A loud scream, followed by Kirishima actually sending out her own smash. Deku's sonic scream colliding with All Might's basically, well, absorbing the wave and continuing on, but being weakened by it. Kirishima's punch being able to overpower it and actually send force in his direction. Now, with that being said, these 2 are waiting. Deku, him and her are still talking. Deku's, well, eyes somewhat move as he basically just pushes Kirishima backwards, telling her to dodge to take 2 steps back. Her doing so, All Might basically appearing right in front of them, as if he teleported, being followed by a loud gust of wind. Seeing the path he took, Deku lunging forwards with a fist. All Might bringing his hand up to block as Kirishima brings in a 70% smash. Now, All Might would immediately just bring his hand up and smack her hand upwards to the sky. Her basically setting that force airborne, as she hardens her hand and brings it in, covering it in Black Whip. As soon as her hand collides with All Might's, she begins to wrap around his leg and his side, trying to at least capture All Might, wanting to wrap him up really, really fast. Deku basically holding on to All Might's arm, him basically struggling against it, really, really bad. All Might basically pulling Kirishima off and tossing her away, sending her and Black Whip flying. Now, All Might just stares at Deku, basically putting more power into his right arm. Deku basically bringing up his hands and holding it back, trying to at least stop All Might from, well, hitting him. All Might commending Deku. He's able to hold back 40% of his power. So, let's see how you do with 70%, my boy, as he sends a left hook, smashing Deku in the gut and sending him flying. Deku doing one thing, getting back up and immediately just popping his neck and his knuckles, bringing him down into the building as he just makes sure to get a good direction on this. With his with his improved vision, he can see All Might, as if he's still standing directly in front of him. So, this will be interesting. Deku somewhat feeling Corn's might begin to burn. So, Corn wants his champion to fight. This fight I'll be more interested in. Deku immediately lunging forwards, covering himself in fire. All Might, he's waiting for Kirishima to return. Her basically lunging forwards and running in. All Might being surprised to see her. He felt the wind move behind him. Him basically bringing his leg up and smashing it backwards behind him. Kirishima being able to slide with her arms hardened. All Might's actually impressed, as he gets smashed into the ground by Deku, who gets up and begins to bash him across the face. All Might just kicking Deku off of him. Deku is not as strong as he needs to be. So, what is he gonna do? All Might is being held back by weights, so he is handicapped and he still can't, outpower him. He needs to outlast him then. He knows his time limit will possibly get more closer if he uses more power. So that's the strategy. No one else knows about it. They think this is an unbeatable opponent. Kirishima rushing in, trying to throw a left hook upwards, trying to at least send All Might flying. All Might moving backwards to that as Kirishima throws her hand outwards into his gut. All Might basically trying to dodge by stepping backwards a bit more. Basically, he's making sure to dodge any punches around his torso area, while also trying to keep away Deku. Deku being flung around and actually treated as if he's just a toy, or an object that's not there. He is not strong enough, and he's beginning to get angrier, as he would rush in this time. All Might finally taking Deku a bit seriously. Deku being able to wrap around All Might and actually somewhat hold him. He links his arms together as he begins to smash All Might through buildings, basically picking him up and running through. All Might's trying to at least get his feet on the ground. Deku beginning to do so as he actually does smash All Might's head into a building, and actually just throws him straight upwards, through the floors. People actually being in shock. They didn't think Deku was that strong. Bakugo saying that he's done it now. Everyone just staring at him. Bakugo smirking, saying that he's fallen into Deku's trap. They're all confused though. What has All Might done? Bakugo is somewhat looking at them, saying that he pissed Deku off. Everyone confused. Deku? Who the hell is Deku? Now, with that said, everyone would just watch. All Might basically having the building cave in. Deku basically backing out of the building as he just waits, beginning to scream as loud as he can, shaking the area around them. Kirishima running in, telling Deku that they need to go now. Deku not budging, saying that they need to take down All Might, here and now. He needs this, please. Her just looking at Deku. The fire in his eyes. She can tell that that is not good. If he doesn't get a battle like this soon, or another one like this, he will go crazy. So, she's... her just thinking about it. All Might said that he can only use 70% of his One For All, and she's going at 70% herself. So does that mean that she's stronger than All Might's? That seems just about right. So, Even then I can bump myself up to 80 if I need to. But that's still close to my limit. If I harden myself, I can keep myself at the 85. Okay. Her somewhat looking at Deku and smirking, saying, let's do it. Deku just having an ear-to-ear grin form on his face. All Might basically bursting out of the rubble, running forwards. Deku doing the same. Running directly at All Might as All Might basically smashes him across the face, sending him flying as Kirishima runs in. All Might actually going to try and throw a punch of his own. Her basically countering with her own hardened punch at 85. All Might actually being surprised whenever his hand goes flying backwards. Not expecting that. People actually being able to see All Might's knuckles are broken, or at least bleeding. That is amazing. Now, Deku would come back in, as he rushes All Might, immediately just grabbing him upwards and slamming him into the ground. Over and over and over again. All Might basically pinning Deku to the ground himself and actually beginning to throw punches. Left, right, over and over and over again. Until the ground collapses. Them heading underground. Kirishima doing one thing. Immediately just using Black Whip and going to the top of a building. Beginning to wrap different things around it. And lowering herself down. Everyone confused as she walks partway down the street before finally coming to Black Whip's limit and range. So, what is she doing? Everyone a bit confused. Deku and All Might basically bursting out of the ground. Deku slamming upwards into a different building. All Might being ready, trying to look for Kirishima. He finally sees her, and she's directly in front of him, with Black Whip. Him just turning around to see the building, as she yanks it forwards. All Might actually confused. This is a good tactic, but he'll reach her before then. Immediately running forwards, Deku actually doing the same. As soon as he runs in, he grabs All Might and immediately throws him over his shoulder, smashing upwards through those floors. All Might actually finding this battle to be a bit interesting. He has never been tossed around by an opponent before. The only battle he's had close to this is like All for One. The Space Marines really do train these kids well. He's actually getting a bit tired because of this. He's been going past 70% for a little while. So, All Might actually asking Nezu if he can get more serious, to which Nezu would allow it. All Might taking off the weights. Bakugo smirking, along with Ibara beginning to chant, Kirishima, Kirishima. Every one of their battle brothers and battle sisters doing the same. Class 1A is still confused though. What exactly is going on? Them watching as Deku takes a running stance in the ground, grabbing basically into the earth. All Might immediately running forwards at high speeds. Kirishima matching him. Her coming in and smashing her hands directly in All Might's face. And actually clocking him in one of his ears. As Deku comes in, with the pieces of the earth he buried his hands into, smashing these giant boulders across All Might's face, breaking them in a couple punches, and immediately just keep going at it. As Deku would grab a stop sign, and begin to have a bit more fun. He actually does bash across All Might's face after he got knocked away, sending All Might flying for once. So, Kirishima would begin, picking him out of the air with Black Whip and yanking him down to the earth. Deku basically running upwards, jumping and smashing at All Might with his fist and slamming him down into the ground, as he's igniting himself with more and more fire. All Might, he thinks he just broke one of his ribs, or quite simply two. His time limit is approaching, but he knows that he must at least try a bit harder. Along with that, Deku seems to be actually enjoying himself. He has not stopped grinning that smile. So, The young man seeks a challenge, All Might actually giving Deku something that he didn't expect. A large socking to the chest, directly. Deku basically getting sent flying through the air once again. Except this time, this, hit Deku's bone armor underneath his skeleton. Or, what used to be his skeleton. There is a large bone plate there, now. And it just got broken into multiple pieces, but it is regenerating. Deku somewhat blacked out for a second. But he reawakened with combat stimulant, pumping through his veins. As he would immediately bring his hands behind him and smash them. At least being able to redirect himself. Heading back into the battle as he sees Kirishima and All Might struggling against each other. Deku bringing his fist outwards, and, socking them forwards with as much force as he can whenever he comes back in, smashing All Might across the face, possibly fracturing part of his skull, along with hitting him right next to his right eye. So, that is going to be a lot of pain. Along with that, All Might would have actually closed that eye. He cannot really see through it very well right now. It's a bit bloodshot. So, All Might would have congratulated these two, saying that they are very, very well heroes, and that they should be proud. All Might telling Kirishima that he wants to test her. One more punch to determine it all. Asking her if she's ready. Along with Deku, saying that these two must prove themselves to be worthy of passing. Deku understanding that, and immediately charging in. Sending a sonic scream at All Might as All Might tries to throw one punch, or a 1-inch punch at this shockwave. Immediately do so, but his ears ringing in the process. As he comes in, socking with the left hook at 100% of his power. It wouldn't put too much of a strain on One For All for him to do this at least one more time. And, not go above 70% after that, along with the fact that he will be going through that surgery after this. So it may not really even be a worry, but he doesn't want to stress it too much, in case it is a possibility. As he comes smashing in, colliding with Kirishima's fist, these two having a bit of a power struggle. Her actually hardening her body as she just keeps going. Deku smashing in with his own hand, as he is the force that basically helps overpower All Might. These two breaking his arm as they would both come out with their other fist and slam them directly into his face, punching him away. As Deku, he is excited. Along with that, his muscles don't feel fatigued at all. He could do this for a couple more days. As he looks at Kirishima. She is exhausted, however. Using One For All, the way she's been doing so, has been draining on her body. And she needs to rest now. As she powers down and drops to the ground. Deku actually picking her up. Asking her if she's okay. He knows he kind of went too far and he's sorry. He'll figure out a way to... Her basically just saying that it's okay. This was actually a lot funner than she thought, but they should get out of here while All Might's, down. Deku understanding. Him basically carrying her bridal style out of the, battle arena. And they would be awarded with the winner. They would be called the winners. As you have All Might. Him getting out of his pile of rubble and standing up. Trying to at least nurse a broken arm, cracked knuckles in his left hand, 3 broken ribs, a fracture to the right side of his skull, and possibly his jaw with possibly a broken teeth, one that needs to be filled and one that needs to be replaced, along with possibly a cavity. Anyways, with that being said, he would actually begin to walk out of the area. Him basically immediately going to Recovery Girl. That being his cover for whenever he's about to shrink down. Him basically being able to get out of the area and immediately shrink down. Recovery Girl being there to wait for him. He's explained a bit about what's going to happen with the next 2 weeks, asking if that would actually be safe. Her actually telling All Might that it will be, but is it really going to be okay for him to take 2 weeks off, since he didn't even do so whenever he was injured? So, she thinks that this will actually be a good point for All Might, but his worries do pose a bit more now, since, well, the USJ attack and quite possibly future events, which they don't know about yet. It's still a concern, in case they do get attacked again. Oh boy, don't you guys love that ominous foreshadowing? Anyways. Now, with that being said, everyone will actually be a bit more surprised and talking more. These two basically took down All Might. He even took off the weights and was, well, going a bit more serious. So clearly, well, they've earned his respects. Todoroki actually being a bit more skeptical about this. All Might called Midoriya boy, or, well, young man. Something along those words. The battle was very intense, and he's trying to remember it now, but, well, it was also a bit more, well, fired up. He will need to talk to Midoriya, at least trying to get an explanation, along with him wanting to go see Mei after his match. Now, he is still paired up with Momo, but, well, Momo ain't fucking around. Her immediately making firearms directly off the bats, with tranquilizer darts. As soon as they see Eraserhead, bam bam. If those don't work and he uses that, well, wrapping around his neck, then she would make a bit of a more tactical heavy bolter. Basically, imagine getting hit with a murder bullet the size of a Red Bull can. Anyways, a lot of these teams would be very different with their outcomes. Because I want to say you'd have Bakugo and Ibarra versus... what were some of the other teachers? I'm not sure, but they would all win. I'm trying to think about the other teachers and I can't really do so. Now, after they win, they would all leave for the day. As they all do somewhat head home. A bit fired up and amped. They will be going through more training today. Along with that, there is someone at least watching these events. Or at least 2 people, as you can call it. One of them, they want to honor a tradition they follow. The other one is merely here to observe. So, what will the outcome be of this battle? Surely it will be something, well, disastrous, or quite possibly peaceful. He's not really sure. There is more than one hunter. Or, well, they go by another name. He does at least. Anyway guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next parts.